to the launch of Entrepreneur 2015, a business competition that makes a difference. My name is Dave Taylor. I am the director of the Reverend Joseph L. Levesque, CM, Institute for Civic Engagement, and associate professor in the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice. If you are in this room, then you likely have heard something about this competition, or you missed lunch. Today you'll hear a lot more, and at the end of the formal program, we will offer a brief Q&A period, but importantly also time to network and speak with team members and others and ask additional questions. And through the website and additional information sessions, you can ask even more questions. This is new for all of us, so we're learning as we go. I also want to make one note of caution here. We are tremendously excited about this new initiative, this new competition, but please don't let our enthusiasm and excitement suggest that we are not sensitive to and aware of the ultimate goal of this project, which is to use business principles and practices to begin to address some of the most pressing problems facing our local communities. In our inaugural year, we want to begin to try to tackle the issue of hunger, nutrition, and food access in the city of Niagara Falls. These are serious issues and not laughing matters. So this is not a party, but it is a launch event, and we're excited to get started. On behalf of our entire Entrepreneur Working Group, which I will introduce shortly, I want to thank all of you for coming out on a gorgeous Friday afternoon, in particular the students, as this competition is designed for you. I also want to thank the faculty, staff, and administration for coming out to lend their support. There are a number of people to thank and to recognize, and I'll do that throughout the program. However, because a few folks may have other commitments, I do want to thank the University administration, including Father Marr, President of Niagara University, Dr. Bonnie Rose, Executive Vice President, my boss, Mary Borgognoni, the Vice President for Operations and Outreach, Dr. Tom Chambers, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, who is a staunch supporter and cheerleader for this competition, and Dr. Timothy Downs, Provost and Chief Academic Officer, whose office committed to finding funding for this important initiative. The university administration across the board has been supportive of this project, and we are grateful. Again, I will recognize a few more people and some wonderful collaborators and guests who are with us today. However, I will do that shortly. At this time, I am very pleased to introduce Father Kevin Cray, CM, Vice President for University Mission and Ministry, who will give us an invocation.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. We take a moment in prayer. Oh God, you entrusted to us the fruits of all creation, so we might care for the earth and be nourished with its bounty. We, the human family, come before you, O God, conscious of our faults and our failures, but full of hope to share food with all members in the global community. Therefore, we ask you to graciously send your blessing upon the Vicentia Community Enterprise Project, Entrepreneur, this contest that we proudly launched today. We pray that it might become a source of creative energy for addressing local social problems, particularly food, nutrition, and hunger relievement. Fill those who take on this worthy endeavor with the spirit of knowledge and wisdom as they seek to find just and charitable solutions to end hunger by assuring that all people enjoy the right to food and proper nutrition. And in following the example of our patron, St. Vincent de Paul, a master planner with a heart and mind turned toward the needs of the greater good, allow us to find sustainable solutions to poverty and injustice, locally and globally. And we ask this in your holy name. Amen. This week, as you know, we have just celebrated Vincentian Heritage Week 2014. A wonderful week filled with events and activities. Events and activities that embody our Vincentian values. We began this week with a walk by the St. Vincent de Paul Society for the poor, right here on Goat Island. Next, we went into a Mass and a beautiful MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, signing between the university and a wonderful organization, Hand in Hand for Haiti, a run created by an alum, Ed Brennan. We went into a panel discussion exploring the issue of immigration and how the poor get tangled in this. We had a beautiful convocation last night, which we honored those men and women in our community, greater community of Niagara University, and those who work here at the university as well, who embody Vincentian values, what they do, what they say, who they are. This afternoon, earlier, we had Nativity Miguel Middle School here, youngsters on campus, to view the university and to offer them a sense of hope of higher education. Today, we get to proudly launch the Entrepreneur, this wonderful endeavor, in which we look at the local issues of nutrition and hunger, food. How are we caring for the poor and those who are in need right here in our backyard, right here in Niagara Falls and Niagara County? A wonderful endeavor that the university seeks to look at and to put Vincentian eyes, the Vincentian lens on. So today, in a special way, we salute Dr. David Taylor, Dr. Kevin Blair, Dr. Corey Bauer, and all those who were creative in this endeavor to ensure that our students are looking how they can use their gifts and talents for the betterment of others, for the common good. This time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our 26th University President, Father James Moore, who would like to have his own remarks in this beautiful launching today. Father Moore.
Thank you, Father Kevin. I congratulate Dr. Blair, Dr. Taylor, all the people who were instrumental in creating this opportunity for our university community and our students. I also congratulate our provost, Dr. Tim Downs, who brought the project forward and really discussed it with me and said this would be a wonderful thing for us to support as a university. It's very, very consistent with being Vincentian. St. Vincent de Paul was himself a social entrepreneur, and he created businesses which helped him to create margin, to serve the poor, and to create a social welfare system, to organize people, and to create social welfare networks. And truly, that if we're going to move Niagara Falls and Niagara County and Buffalo forward, we need these kinds of efforts. We need people from all walks and disciplines of the academic community. We need people from the business community. We need agencies. We need non-governmental organizations. We need government to work together because we have a heavy lift ahead of us. Niagara Falls itself, 17, by conservative, and I say conservative estimates, 17% of families live in poverty. I think it's much higher than that. It's really how you count people who are poor and what level you establish. And we've got similar numbers in terms of people who live, 15% who live with food insecurity in this day and age in the United States. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us as a Vincentian University to join efforts with other universities and with other entities in this region to make a difference. A few things that are critically important to me as president. One is that there are no silos in this effort. There's no one saying, this is the only thing I'm going to do. It's going to be us working together, and it's going to be really using the three-legged stool of teaching, service, and research to do something that's impactful for the lives of people who live on the margins of life and of poverty. That's a non-negotiable for me as president. That has to be in place as we go forward, and that's very, very Vincentian. When St. Vincent de Paul grabbed hold of a work, he brought people together of all ways and walks of life, and he challenged them to have an impact and to measure their results. That's going to be critically important to me as we go forward, that we can measure the impact that we're creating in this great, great effort. For the students and others, I think one of the things that is most significant is, and this has recently happened in the medical field, that bringing great researchers and teachers together from various disciplines to focus on a particular project. At Niagara, we have a great faculty, and we have a great, great opportunity here to bring faculty together from various disciplines and various colleges to bring their expertise and to make an incredible difference. We have an opportunity at Niagara to move our feet very, very quickly, to work together, and to make quick and lasting impact in this project. That's what I'm expecting. And that's what I want you to bring as students. Your energy, your excitement, your drive, and to work with experts in various academic disciplines so that we can really make a tremendous difference. We have a great opportunity now in Niagara Falls with all the efforts that are going on to connect the dots, as I like to say. And we have a great opportunity to bring what a university brings, which is teaching, service, and research together, to work with partners in the community to create a lasting impact in the lives of people who live in poverty each and every day. So that's the challenge that I put before you as you enter into this competition. Let the competition be, at the end of the day, that we can come back and we can say we made a difference. And we made a difference together. We put aside agendas, put aside our own issues, and we really, really focus on what we can do to make incredible, lasting, and measurable impact on the lives of people who live in poverty, right in our own community. That's incredibly essential. So I congratulate our provost, our faculty members, our guests, all of us who have really come together to launch this project. Let's come back in a year and let's be able to say, here's the difference we've already begun to make and improve the lives of people who live in poverty. That's our focus, and that's what we and all of us should be held accountable for. So I congratulate you, I challenge you, and we're really, really excited to launch this on our Vincentian Heritage and Mission Week. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Before I invite Dr. Downs to come to the podium, I did want to introduce our team members. A group of us came together in October and began working on this, and we've been working on it now. I guess we're going on upwards of sort of 9 months. So I definitely want to recognize this is a true team effort. Two folks are not here today. Joe Scarcelli, I didn't see Joe, he's not here. Is it? Joe, okay, Joe's back there, great. Joe from the College of Hospitality and Tourism, Joe Scarcelli. Professor. Tom Lowe, who is actually, he runs Renew Niagara, our flagship community-minded program located in the city of Niagara Falls. He's out of town today, so he's not here. But also from the College of Business, Dr. Anna McNabb, who also kind of leads along with Professor Kling, who's here, and Professor Allegra, the Business 120 class, so we're excited for their involvement. I know Vince Agnello is here from the College of Business, also one of our team members. And of course, Corey Bauer, professor in the PhD program in Leadership and Policy, Dr. Blair in Social Work, myself in Criminology, and the Levesque Institute. Did I miss anybody on the team? No? So, about 7 or 8 people who, representing 4 colleges, which is exactly what Father Marr is talking about, breaking down silos and beginning to work together. I see vice presidents here, I see the Dean of the College of Education, and a number of faculty. Thank you all so much for the support. At this time, we have some other guests here who I'll make mention of shortly, but at this point I want to ask Dr. Downs to come up and say a few words.
Good afternoon. This is my 4th year at Niagara University, and I am a Vincentian. I wear purple every day almost, and it's symbolic, but it's because I believe in this institution. I believe in the mission of this institution. In fact, when I was a candidate for my position, when I read the material, I felt a warmth inside, and I thought, this is a place where I could work and feel like there's a great purpose. So I would suggest that everyone in this audience is a Vincentian. Only a few of you have collars on. But that's okay, we're all Vincentians, we're members of this community. So what I'd like to do is, first off, thank the group that you just mentioned, Dr. Taylor. And what I'm thanking them for is to have an idea, to cultivate that idea, become advocates for that idea, which they were relentless. There was one particular meeting where one of those, the 8, we could call them the Entrepreneur 8, maybe. They now have a new name. So the Entrepreneur 8 members pounded on the table and looked at me and said, "You better fund this." But then those others started pounding it, being like a drum contest. I said, okay, I get it. So you force the idea up in the front of my brain and in front of a bunch of other people's minds, and now it's a reality. And that's what we need to do as leaders, as scholars, as teachers, as community people, is to take ideas, cultivate them to become a reality. That's kind of what a university is. It's an atmosphere of learning and sharing. So there's 3 specific things I want to talk about today: learning, creativity, and innovation. Learning. How many of you have stopped learning when you finished going to school? Thank you. That's always a scary question to ask. People say, yeah, I have. No. Lifelong learning. Every day I learn something new. That's why I love working in a university. A student worker in my office will say, hey, did you know? No, I didn't. I learned something new today. Faculty teach me new things, staff. I am just as much of an internet junkie as anybody. I'm surfing the web. I have my iPad out. I'm always learning. We all have to always be learning. Learning everywhere, being this giant human cranial sponge. And what you learn in this context of higher education is how to connect the dots and put them together into some fashion that says, aha, I see how A fits with B with C, and it can cause a reality such as this program. That's what a sophisticated learner is, and that's one of the primary outcomes, critical thinking and integration of ideas as a college student and graduate. So we're kind of in that business. Creativity. When you think about the enterprise of creativity, one of the things that's phenomenal about a university is that every year we get between 600 and 700 freshmen, a bunch of transfer students, a couple hundred of those, hundreds of new graduate students, a bunch of part-timers, who all have a different worldview. A different 2 degrees this way, 2 degrees that way, maybe radically different. And all of this is the engine of creativity. And that's what's the beauty of this project. You're charged as students to come up with a creative solution to a big problem. But you have to narrow it down into something that's manageable, you can get your arms around, and you can say, this is exactly what we're talking about, and this is exactly what we propose to do, and this is how it's going to work logistically and tactically and operationally. This is how it's going to fund itself and hopefully sustain itself. But that's going to take a lot of creativity, a new worldview. My dad, when I was a kid, always told this story about being creative and bringing people in that aren't stuck in their mindset. It's a real simple story. I apologize if you've heard it before. A truck is driving along and it's too tall and it drives under the bridge and gets stuck. So they call out an engineer to say, what could we do with the truck? They call out another engineer to say, I'm a structural engineer with the bridge. And then they got the highway department people there, and this collectivity of men with less hair and gray like me are standing there going, 10-year-old boy rides up on his bicycle and he says, why don't you let the air out of the tires and back it up? Somebody with a new worldview. He knows what it's like to ride without air in his tires because it happens every other day, and he just solved the problem for him. And that's what we ask for when we have students on projects. Bring us that new idea from your generation that will resonate with people in your generation and beyond. So when we talk about innovation, my third point, innovation is a process, and we can use this entrepreneur project as an example. One person had an idea, another person had an idea, and all of a sudden, and I heard that this was percolating. I don't know if you know that. But I hear these things, and I'm like, what? That sounds good. They're talking, they're working, they're thinking, they're coming up with something that's very Vincentian, and then it's born, and it's clarified, and now we're going to make it happen. But the concept that we're talking about has not yet been operationalized, and that's what the goal of this project is to get as many student groups to come up with ideas. And we're going to take a select few and really wrap around people with different intellectual capabilities, different experiences to help bring those ideas to real clarity so they can come forward. So this is a phenomenally Vincentian project. It's going to require you to learn new things and share ideas. It's going to require a lot of creativity, and it's innovative. So it fits all three of my LCI criteria for discussion today. It's something that we should do, and the types of things that we do, and will continue to do as Vincentian University. So thank you for all the creativity, and I look forward to see what happens, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Downs, and again, thank you for everyone for your support. I know you're like, let's get on. We want to know how we can win the $10,000, or certainly the $500 for the idea. But I don't want to, and that is an important part of this. I mean, one of the things where there's a number of goals of this project, and one of them is to create alternative forms and approaches to teaching and learning, including taking learning out from inside the classroom walls. But I also don't want to lose sight of what I said earlier, which is we're here for a reason, to really begin to tackle some very taxing problems. And I do want to introduce one person who's here, Sister Beth Brosmer, if you would stand. Sister Beth is the Executive Director of Heart, Love, and Soul Food Pantry here in Niagara Falls, and a wonderful colleague and a wonderful partner. And just earlier this week, Sister Beth was recognized as an award winner with the YWCA Women of Distinction. So I want to congratulate her for that as well. At this time, I want to ask a good friend and collaborator of mine, Samika Sullivan, to come forward. Samika has done a number of things in the community. She's incredibly community-minded, an activist, a resident. We have worked together for a number of years, including with her students, who she'll often bring to our different projects, and also here on campus. I know she also works closely with Dave Blackburn in the MISA office, and is a good friend of his, and I'm glad. Thank you, Dave, for being here. Thank you for the director of our mission being here, Amelia Gallagher. But at this time, Samika, would you mind coming up and sort of giving us some perspective?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samika Sullivan. I am a lifelong resident of Niagara Falls, and I'm very excited to be here to be a part of this launch and this opportunity to improve the food access in our community. I'll just tell you a little bit about what I do. For about 15 years, I've been a social worker throughout New York State. I mainly work with children and families. That's kind of my area of expertise. And so when I spoke to Professor Taylor and he told me about this opportunity, I was overwhelmed to be able to come here and share just some information about the community that you guys are going to be working in. You guys have heard from the various speakers that you guys have a brand new opportunity to be innovative and creative and to spark something new. And I'm excited. I feel like, you know, like I want to be sitting down in there getting my packet ready for my $500. But nonetheless, I'm excited to be able to help you guys in any way I can. Currently, I am the program coordinator for an after-school program through the Niagara Falls Housing Authority. It's called STILE, which is Successfully Transitioning Youth to Adolescence. It's geared toward 9 to 12-year-old youth. And our goal is to help them transition into adolescence, into becoming teenagers, those scary, frightful, you know, horrible, awful, wonderful times in our lives that nobody prepares us for or gives us a notebook or a handbook for. So we're there to do that with them. In addition, one of the things that I hope that I can instill into these young people is to care about their community, to pay attention to what's going on around them, to be involved, to be innovative, and to be creative. For several years, I've worked with a variety of community organizations, and we have developed several community gardens with the hopes of helping to increase the accessibility of fresh fruit and fresh vegetables and those things in our community. It's been an awesome experience. The first time I did it, it was with a group of teenagers who had a summer job, and so their hours were a little bit short, and they said, we need to figure out a way to make up hours. So I said, okay, how about if we go over and volunteer with this community garden? And so I was ready for them to start throwing stuff at me because they, of course, they didn't want to get their brand new sneakers dirty and their nails just got done and all those things. And so they reluctantly kind of followed me along to the garden. And within a week, they were asking me, Samika, are we going to the garden again? Are we going back to the garden? Look, I wore my sweats today. I wore my old shoes today. So they were really, really excited about it. Their excitement increased when they learned that not only can you grow stuff, but you can eat it. So there were members of our community who were master gardeners, people who, my family's from Alabama, and many of the families that come here have migrated, from the southern states. And so it was very common for these families to have a little side garden on the side of their house or in their backyard, and if there was extras, they'd share with everyone in the neighborhood. So those people came out and they assisted. It was an intergenerational activity, so they assisted these young people in learning about, how do you grow fruit? How do you grow vegetables? How do you keep the squirrels from eating it all once it's all there? How do you do these things? And then later on, now how do you prepare it and make it into something that you can recognize, something that tastes good, and something that you'll want to take home to your family and say, hey, Mom, try this. One of the funniest things was when we started to grow things and things came out, the kids were like, what is that? I've never seen that before. They've probably eaten it 10,000 times, but to actually see it coming out of the ground in its natural state was really shocking. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and as we were getting ready to start a new community garden, I said to her, hey, do you want to go and help me with a garden? And she says, oh yes, I'm so excited, we're going to grow lots of beautiful flowers. And I said, well, we're actually not going to grow flowers, we're going to grow vegetables. She said, vegetables don't grow in a garden, silly. And I said, well, where do they come from? She's like, from the freezer. And I said, well, where do they come from before the freezer? She's like, the supermarket, remember? We went to the supermarket, we got the vegetables. So for me, it was an awesome learning opportunity for her to be able to put a seed in the ground and come back several weeks later and there were vegetables that she could pick and that she could eat so that she can understand the process of food. Now that may sound like something very simplistic to many of us in this room, but it's a little bit of a foreign concept in our fast food society where everything we get comes out of a window, out of a paper bag, out of something already prepackaged and put together, 30 seconds, and there's your food. I remember watching Back to the Future as a kid and thinking, seeing they put all the stuff in the microwave and voila, here's a pizza. You put a little pill in and come out and there's a pizza. That's the world we live in today. And it's very frightening because people don't know these things. They don't have the access. But and again, as I was preparing for this, just doing a little bit of research and just trying to figure out, once you get the food there, then what? How do you then get into the minds of the people to understand that it's different? Because from what I'm reading, the research says, hey, even when we give access to impoverished communities, that doesn't necessarily change food choices. So sometimes we think, oh, well, the people just don't want to. They don't want to do X, Y, or Z. And sorry, I'll relate this back to the work that I do because it's the work that I do. But I was recently at a conference and I spoke to some people in a parent group and we were talking about how do we get parents engaged? How do we get family engaged? And one woman said, well, they just need to make it a priority. I schedule a meeting once a month and no one shows up and it's just not their priority. Their kids aren't their priority. And I almost flew out of the window because I'm a working mom. I want to be involved in everything my daughter does. But I certainly have to make sure that a roof is over her head and that food's on that table. We don't have a garden in our backyard right now, so we have to get our vegetables from the supermarket. But nonetheless, we sometimes mistake our priorities for the priorities of people in the community. So we assume that because they don't fit into our little neat box of, oh, you need to do it like this. Here's a vegetable stand, now come and get these vegetables. Well, if I don't know what half those vegetables are, guess what? That doesn't look appealing to me. And so I said, it's not that people don't want to be involved, we just have to find other ways to involve them, or other ways to involve ourselves in their lives. I began working in the Highland community, which is designated a food desert, a couple of years ago, and I remember going outside at lunchtime and thinking, okay, I just want a salad today. I just want a salad, something light. I don't want to be all sluggish at 2 o'clock. And I walked up and down the block, and I walked a few blocks further, and I could not find a single place to get something fresh to eat. Now, I could find good food, don't get me wrong, but it was not necessarily the food that was healthiest for me, nor was it fresh. Even the vegetables were fried, at certain places. So I thought, wow, this is just amazing. I have to get in my car, leave the community, go somewhere else, spend money outside of the community so that I can just have, a healthy lunch. with those things in mind, it kind of pushed forward our efforts with the community gardens and then access. One of the most important things we have to do is we have to change the way people think. That's your biggest challenge. Your easiest part is going to be able to get the food in there. I have an intern working with me from the social work department, and he says, we were talking about this, and he says, "What, are you kidding me? There's so many farms around, we'll just go out and get the fruit and we'll bring it back." And he was so excited, and I said, "But then how do you make the people eat it? How do you get it from that farm into the mouths of the people who need it most?" So as you go forward and you think about your plans and your opportunity, think out of the box. I love this generation because you guys have access to so many things. You guys have access to the entire world literally at your fingertips. And you are creative and you are innovative. I was walking here and I saw the sidewalk chalk notices on the ground, and I'm like reading them all, and I'm like, "Oh wow, yeah, look at this one's cool." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late," reading this. But it caught my attention, it caught my attention. And I thought this would be something awesome to put in the community if you have a message to get out, if there's something that you want to convey. You do things that are alive and bright. You cannot be afraid to do something that's different. If the research had all the answers, guess what? We wouldn't be sitting here. This wouldn't be a necessary thing for us to do. But it doesn't. What this project needs is brand new thoughts, brand new ideas. People who aren't afraid to go into the neighborhood and say, "Hey, what is this going to take?" Sometimes I go to Sam's Club around lunchtime, and there's samples everywhere, and so there's stuff that I may not have ever picked up, or I may have walked by, and hey, you know what? I'll try this. I'll give it a try and see what it is, and before I know it, my eyes are open to something brand new. My daughter does the same. If we go there and there are no food people, she's like, "Hey, where are the food people?" Yeah. And it's an opportunity for her to try new things and to experience new things. So think outside of the box. Think of not necessarily satisfying your own need or your own goal, but think of how you can go out into the community, get to know the people, and figure out how do we change people's minds. That is probably the hardest thing in the world to do. It's something that I work at every single solitary day, and it's something that I won't give up because I do see minds changing. I see it through our youth. I see it by when our kids go out and they pick up a zucchini, or they pick up a squash, or they pick up a butternut squash that they've never seen before, and we can take it, to a neighbor's house, and they can say, "Oh yeah, honey, this is how you prepare it. You just put a little bit of this, and you add that, and you cook it this way." It changes their minds, and then they go home and they say, "Mom, when we go to the store, can we get some squash? Can we get some eggplant? Can we get these things?" So you have to figure out ways. You have to get into the community. Please don't sit back. When you take on this project, I would like to, and I'm sorry if this is a good or bad idea, but I would like to challenge some of you to go into some of these communities that are food deserts. Just walk through the neighborhood and see what you can find. Try to put together a meal. We think about poverty and we think about people who are lazy or people who just don't want to do things. Poverty comes in all shapes, sizes, fashions, forms, and colors. Today you can be sitting on top of the world. Tomorrow you can be sitting underneath it. So please don't lose sight of those things. I thought when I went to college I was going to come out with this great degree and I was going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in my first year, and then I got my first job. Reality smacked me right in the face. I worked with homeless kids at the time. I would watch these children stand outside of fast food restaurants and hope that someone would throw their food away, and they'd be like vultures running in to get it because they were living in true poverty. I also knew that if I missed one paycheck, I would be right there beside them, vulturing just the same that they were. So keep those things in mind. Keep in mind that poverty is not always a choice. Keep in mind that we all grow old if we're lucky enough. And sometimes, our families are not there to support us. Our kids grow up and they move away, and we're in a community that we can't drive and we don't have access to get around. And it's a little bit more difficult. People say, "Oh, there's a store right there." But if I can't walk, that store may as well be 100 miles away. So keep the community in mind. Go out, meet the people, and figure out what does it take, how do we change minds? Because we can change access. There's that notion, if you build it, they will come. That's not true. And I wonder who said that, because I've seen lots of things be built and no one comes. So don't go in with the notion that here's the solution and this is what I got. I think the best thing about this is that you guys are working in interdisciplinary teams, so you're getting thought processes from all over. You're learning from business students, you're learning from social work students, you're learning from such a wide gamut of people, and this is just an amazing opportunity. Again, I live and work in this community. I love this community, and I'm certainly willing to be a resource to anyone who needs to find out. If you want to come into the community, if you want to find out, meet some people, talk to people, by any means, I'm available, and there's lots of other amazing people in this community that are available to help you. Best of luck to you all, and let's change people's minds.
Thank you, Samika, very much for your inspirational words and your commitment to helping us make this successful. If you're, Dr. Bauer and Dr. McNabb putting together the slideshow, you'll notice in there a quote from an article from a woman, Carol Petway. It's a great quote, and also sums up some similar things to what Samika was talking about. We did look for her today. I wanted to bring her to this, and Sister Beth did catch up with her, and she wants to be involved in this project. She's excited about the project. She had another commitment, so couldn't join us here, but it is our commitment to be able to get the team members, at least some of the team members, into the community, talking with residents. We've got a great partnership with the Housing Authority, so we're hoping to work closely with them and kind of focus our efforts in the North End, the neighborhoods that are closest here to us in Niagara Falls. We're right on time. It's about 2:45, and we promised to hold you here not too long. We want to actually get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of the competition, and then when that's done, we will again have food and we'll have some opportunities for networking and mingling. But at this time, I want to introduce Dr. Kevin Blair. Who'll probably say words first, and then Dr. Bauer. You don't need to hear the whole history of how this came together. Suffice to say that there's been conversations on campus with the two of them and faculty in the College of Business, great dialogue about what role should a university play, particularly a university that's a Vincentian university, around the issue of poverty. And in particular, what role should a College of Business play in a community at a Vincentian university. And out of these dialogues is really what brought the group together in October. So that was sort of the seed that got all this going. So I'm going to turn it over to them at this time. Dr. Blair?
Dr. Bauer and I are going to move from setting the stage and background, so you're not going to hear any history. We're going to get into how do you win the $10,000 if it happens to be you. Probably as I've moved about campus, a lot of people, faculty and students have found me knocking on their doors, sitting down and talking to them. Get a lot of excitement, it's a great idea, and then they kind of trail off in terms of what do I do next, how do I get involved, and this kind of thing, right? So one of the things we've talked a lot about is how to help you be creative, be innovative. It's very difficult if somebody sort of points at you and says, be creative. Come up with a new idea that, by the way, no one has ever thought of because the social workers haven't thought of it and the Walmarts of the world haven't thought of it, but you think of it. So to try to help you with that, we have three people sitting up at front here. This is, you guys can just stand up a little bit. This is Jim, Nellie, and Pablo, and they're from Buff State and from Stitch Brand and Culture, right? Right. Did I get that? All right. And what Jim and his colleagues, his associates are ready to do, what they do is help you become creative in your thinking. You hear that phrase, get out of the box and think out of the box and all these sorts of things? They can help you to do that. Jim and his associates for the next 3 weeks, that's the time frame we've negotiated with them, they will come to your class. If your professor's not into it, lean on him. Talk to him or her about bringing these folks in. They will meet with clubs, they will meet with independent groups of students. Jim, I'm going to try to arrange for him or Nellie or Pablo to come to my classes next Friday. You're welcome in my class while they're there. I've been through some of Jim's workshops. They are excellent at helping you to think differently than you currently think. And we need a new idea. You've heard that from everybody. We need something new, something different, something that has not been thought of. Why not you guys, right? Why not from Niagara, and why not you? And if it's you, you then will get your chance. $10,000 plus other sort of resources. Whatever we can help you with, we will bring to bear so you can implement your idea. We really want to try to find something new, something different that really helps impoverished people in the north part of Niagara Falls. Jim, Nellie, and Pablo will be around, noshing and ready to talk to you. You got a group, talk to them, find a time. If you're a professor and you want to bring them into your class, they'll work with you. We'll find a way to make it work. Pretty much that's all I'm going to actually say, because I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bauer, and he's going to walk you through the pragmatics of what are the steps, how do I apply, what's the paperwork. He gets the fun job, right? So, all right, Dr. Bauer.
Hi everyone. One of my favorite things about this competition is that we give everyone a chance to go out and see things for themselves and not have to just sit there while someone reads a PowerPoint and talks to them. So in order to explain how we're going to do that, I'm going to read you a PowerPoint. So I just want to go over a quick overview. In about 5-10 minutes we're going to pass out some more details. But this is how it's going to work. There are going to be 3 things that you're going to do during the fall semester. Task number 1 is obviously forming a team. So go find a friend or 2 or 3 or 4. And then we're going to hold some workshops. We're going to help you out. We're going to explain to you what's going on. We're going to explain the background to you. We're going to take you out in the community. And so I think that we have kind of 2 different reactions to this opportunity. There are the group of people who say, oh, this is awesome. I get to do my own thing. I don't have to listen to the rules from the professors. Now I'm in charge. So if that's you, go get them. We'll stand by and let you attack the problem. And then there are some people who say, I really want to help out, not quite sure what to do, I want some more information. So we're here to help those people too. We're going to have a series of workshops, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then the final step, obviously, is submitting your proposal. So timeline. So October 10th, we're asking all teams to register. And there'll be an online form on our website. It's really simple. It'll take you a minute just through Google Docs. All we want is your names, your contact info, and your major and your college. November 25th will be the submission deadline, like I said. Within probably 2 weeks or so of the submissions, we'll see how many we get. We're going to announce semifinalists. And so another thing I want to clarify is that I love that this gives people the chance to take risks and go out and do new things, and maybe they fail, but they learn from that opportunity to fail. And so we're asking you all to be flexible and creative. At the same time, we are also trying to be flexible and creative. So we're not going to stand here and say, December 1st, we will announce exactly 5 semifinalists. This is the pilot year. We're going to see how many we get. If we get 100 submissions and 10 are absolutely fantastic, then we'll make 10 semifinalists. And so what we're going to do is those semifinalists, we're going to send them out to the community, and the community is going to help determine the finalists. So the plan is that 3 finalists, all 3 finalists will win $500. And then we're going to help you out. We'll partner you up with mentors, resources, anything that you want or need to help you prepare a final submission for the spring. And in the spring, we have a $10,000 startup fund earmarked for this purpose. And we can also help you raise more money if you think you need it. So rules. So like I said, the teams are between 2 and 5 people. Every team has to have at least 1 undergraduate student. Register by October 10th. The workshops are all things that we think you should attend, but the only thing that's going to be mandatory is that you go out into the community with us and attend a community tour or meeting or something. And Samika said she would help out with people who want to do that. And then by Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the 25th, the final proposal is due. So in order to help you guys prepare for that, we're going to have some additional information sessions. If you have some friends you want to convince to come do it, or you just think of some more questions over the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, we're going to have kind of smaller info sessions. We'll have Q&A. We'll talk to you guys. We'll answer some questions. Maybe you want to float some ideas by us, and we'll give you some ideas here. So the proposal itself is going to have 3 parts. So all 3 parts should be fairly simple to do. Nothing super elaborate. You're not going to turn in like a 50-page business proposal breaking down every dollar you plan to spend in the fall. We're going to have a short video, a short concept paper, and then a brief overview called a business model canvas. So the video, all you're going to do in the video is introduce your team and your idea to the world. And the idea is that you're going to sell yourself. So be creative, make it fun, be enthusiastic, make it memorable. Remember that the community is going to vote on the semifinalists when they see these. The concept paper. So it's just 3 to 5 page paper, nothing super long, but we do want you to actually delve into some research and get some examples explaining why you think your idea is going to work. And so we've been tweeting out resources all the last couple weeks. Go to our Twitter feed, go to our website. We have a ton of links and reports on there that you can read to start getting some ideas. You need to lay out in your paper what the problem is that you're trying to solve. As Samika was pointing out, this is a multi-layered problem. It's not just access, it's not just knowing recipes, it's not just being able to afford food. There are 5 or 10 different problems that are all creating to create a larger problem. What impact do you want to have? So what is it that you're actually going to change? A year later, what difference would we be able to go out in the community and see if your group wins? What else has been tried? So what have other groups done? Maybe some group in, let's say, Detroit has a fantastic idea that we haven't tried here, and you want to borrow some ideas from there, or an idea from Nashville, or some other city. Or maybe something's happening in Buffalo that should be happening in Niagara Falls. We want to know what else has been tried and what happened when they try it. Did they succeed? Did it fail? Did it partly succeed, partly fail? And then how is your idea different? How is this something that we're not currently doing? We're not looking to just keep doing more of the same. We want something new, something innovative, something creative. All right, so the business model canvas. This might be the most confusing thing when you look at it, but it should be pretty simple. And we're going to have a workshop devoted just to filling this out. And so this is what it looks like. All it is, what are there, 8 boxes? 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, I guess, boxes. And each box is just going to have 20, 30, 40, 50 words about the general overview of how your organization is going to work. So who you're going to serve, what you're going to give them, how you're going to give it to them, how you're going to advertise yourself, etc. It's just a very brief, mile-high overview of how things are going to work. So, in the future, we're going to do some workshops. I think we have someone stellar coming in next week, if I remember. Friday at 3 p.m. in Bisgrove. We're going to talk about poverty in Niagara Falls, local context, and how poverty affects people. So what is it about living in poverty that actually changes people, and how can we change some of those things? The following week, we have Lisa Tucker. She's going to come in and talk specifically about food and about hunger. And that's on Thursday, again, same room, top floor of Bisgrove, the big conference area there. And then we're going to have, we have the Stitch folks up here that Dr. Blair introduced you to. They're going to do an innovation and creativity workshop in late October. So once you have a handle on what the problems are, they're going to help you think through, how do I come up with a new idea to solve this? And we're also going to have a workshop, as I mentioned, on how to actually create your business plan, how to fill out that business model canvas. And we'll take you step by step through that. So like I said, there's only one thing that you absolutely must attend this semester, and that is that we're going to have mandatory team meetings. So we'll have it Monday and Tuesday, October 13th and 14th. So you must register by Friday the 10th. The following Monday and Tuesday, someone from your team has to come and show up, and we're going to talk to you about what you're going to go out and do in the community. We don't want 100 people to just rush out in the community and start asking everyone how they feel. These are people's lives, these are people's homes, these are people's neighborhoods, and we want to be respectful of that. All right, so for more information, we're gonna pass out a detailed sheet here. This has a little bit more information. The purple is quite hard to see, but our website is in the process of being. Our website will be updated this afternoon, and you'll be able to get this document on the website. You'll be able to go to the registration page on the website. We have links to our Facebook and Twitter pages on the website. We have a whole bunch of resources, reports, documents, research, etc. on the website. We'll continue to tweet out updates and announcements on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. The Twitter one's Entrepreneur 2015. Website and Facebook are just Entrepreneur.
It's on the bottom of this.
Yeah, it's on the bottom of this as well. So I think at this time, if anyone has any questions, Dave, you want to hold your questions, or just want to mingle and ask?
No, we can ask a few, we'll take a few. I think I might have messed up on the mandatory team meetings. I think that Monday might be Columbus Day.
Okay.
So the point is, our website is continually being updated, so we'll be in communication with you as you sign up and through the website, so my apologies on that. Anyone else need, so, at this time, why don't we take a few questions for the team? Take one for the team.
If you don't know, the gentleman back here, Ed Hutton, Ed has been helping us as well, and he knows people who are like called venture capitalists. Good guy to know if you need money for a project, right? He's got a radio show, he can get you on publicity and all sorts of stuff. If you don't know Ed, you should get to know him, right? Danielle?
Is there anybody here that has only one person? I'm
This guy
looking
back
for
here.
somebody else to be in my group.
Raise your hand if you have one person right now. You can all look over at each other. I see 6, 7, 8 hands come up. Okay. And we may consider, if we have a lot of people saying they have one person, having some sort of formal forum for that. But we'll give you a week or so to do that individually. Vince?
I had a question in my class for one of my students. They said if we have a group of 3, and we sign up by October 10th, can we add somebody afterwards? Is there any problems with that?
That's okay.
Can we have a team member from another school?
That's a good question, we haven't crossed that one.
The rules have,
Yeah, the rules say everyone has to be from NU. And I think that's for legal reasons as much as anything else. As with anything, if there's some very, very compelling reason why we should do that and we can satisfy the legal team, then I won't completely close that door, but it's unlikely that that's going to be okay, I would say.
You can use them as an unpaid consultant and then
Yeah.
split profits with them later.
You can hire them once you start.
I just thought, remember class I asked you, I don't know if anybody else knows, but when I asked if we could use this towards our learning serve hours for next semester?
Yeah, for my classes, absolutely. If you get involved in this in any way, the hours count towards your service learning. Right, so attending the workshops and preparing things, so it helps you meet that kind of requirement. But I can't speak for any other professor. It just, that's what goes for me. You have to talk to other folks about what goes for them. All right.
Fran, did you want to say anything?
Fran?
At the very bottom on page 1, all rules are subject to change.
Wow.
I just, additional information.
You weren't supposed to read that part, Fran.
Well, no, I think the person who brought up the question about can they be a non-NU student? And we all kind of looked at one another like, How will the change in the rules be communicated?
If we go ahead and change the rules for everyone, then that'll be communicated, it'll be on the website, it'll be sent to all the teams, tweeted out, etc.
We don't expect major changes, but as Dr. Taylor has said, a couple things. We haven't done anything quite like this before, and nothing like this has ever been done at Niagara. So the first time you do things, you don't tend to be great at them. There's a lot of learning as you go, and we want to have enough rules and structure to make things turn out well, but we don't want to get caught unable to be flexible. So you even hear about, can one person be a team? Can they do their own submission? Well, we're a little flexible on some things. So we're not expecting big changes, but we don't want to find ourselves hamstrung by our own rules and unable to be flexible enough to help somebody who's got a nice idea bring that idea forward. So that's all we're looking at, is enough rigidity to give you support, but not so much rigidity that you feel constrained and you can't do anything.
Okay, my concern was just that the communication of the change.
Yep.
If it's anything significant, when you register, we'll know who you are. And you should, in the registration form, there'll be who's the lead contact. If there are 5 of you, we're not always going to talk to all 5. Who's the lead contact? So we're going to communicate directly. I'm hoping to have the problem of having like 100 teams with 500 total members. But, you know, even that, 100 teams, we can communicate directly. We can have small meetings, right? Again, nothing is here to trip anybody up.
And we're also trying to build community as part of this. So if any of you have had Professor Allegra for courses, he doesn't even teach courses anymore. He teaches learning, facilitates learning communities. So we want to get to know you, and we want you to get to know each other. I mean, that's one of the goals, to get some excitement going on campus, to get hospitality majors, working with business majors and social science majors and education majors. So we don't know how that's going to fall out in the first year. It might not fall, but really that's what we'd love to see, is this, because as anyone who's studied innovation will tell you, this is where the magic happens, on the margins of disciplines. Where, right, and we've been talking about a lot about that, the work that chemistry students did at another unit. Was it North Carolina State? They were chemistry majors, and they addressed a criminal justice problem, which is the issue of date rape. And you probably all heard this, but they basically invented a nail polish that would change colors if you dip it in the drink, and that would detect whether the drink had been tainted, had been tampered with, right? So there's cross-disciplinary, work, and that's what we want to see.
Well, further on the NC State one, if you haven't heard about it, you can do YouTube on it. But that was their entrepreneur contest. That team of 4 students won $11,000 from NC State. Then they were able to convince a venture capitalist to give them $100,000, and they're in the process of turning the product into something that they can actually put on the market for sale. So that's something we're looking for to happen here as well. The $10,000 is seed money. We can use it to leverage other sorts of things, unless it's enough to do whatever idea you come up with, right? Other questions, how are we doing?
Maybe one more, and then we can, the idea is to after we're done here, go over and, grab some food and continue the conversation, and we're going to stick around, but maybe one more question? Also, I want to introduce Justin Sundell. He's a good guy. He's out at the Niagara Gazette, and he's here sort of just checking this out, and maybe you want to talk to a couple students or something afterwards, or?
Yeah, if anybody's going to be going to the...
Yeah, that would be great. If any of you are willing to talk to Justin, that we really appreciate it. Maybe one more question? Or what do you think? You know what we'll do while we're not going to do it formally while everyone's sitting down, but we do have a video clip of that North Carolina State competition, the nail polish, and we've got a few other ones. So maybe we can just kind of run those in the background while we're all, while we're all kind of networking. What do you think? Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you. I mean, we know it's Friday afternoon. We know it's just outside.
Food.
We have food for 75 people, and so we're hoping you'll share. And again, thank all of you for coming. If you don't have this sheet, please pick it up from one of us. Stick around.